After the prince eventually ended Colonel Silver, Vegeta grabbed the Red Ribbon radio. As he started to speak through the walkie, the frequency gets back to the Army HQ, so a soldier reports to the Commander Red that Colonel Silver was connecting back to base. As Officer Black picks up the walkie, on the other end, Vegeta relays,
"My name is Vegeta. I have taken your Dragon Balls, and I want to clarify that your supposed colonel has also been defeated. I guess you are his superior. My advice to you and the rest of your army is to be prepared. I am coming for you."
As the call abruptly ends, Officer Black looked quite alarmed by the sudden news of Colonel Silver's defeat, so Black passes the message on to Commander Red, who is instantly angered by this impulsive act of war. So suddenly, Red commands one of his soldiers to pull up the Dragon Ball radar signal. They all saw 3 balls moving away rapidly from Silver's camp, but not in their direction, thankfully. So Red commands Black to send orders to the following location containing a Dragon Ball and for the soldiers to stay on alert. Black responds with a "yes sir" before going to do as instructed. Meanwhile, Vegeta looked around Silver's camp for any clues on how to find the other Dragon Balls, but ultimately found nothing of the use, until he thought to himself, Bulma's radar, yes, that was it. So hastily, Vegeta flew off back to Roshi's island in hopes of Bulma having the radar. And when the prince arrived back on the island, Master Roshi blurted out from behind, "It's about time you arrived." Vegeta turned curiously. He asked how Roshi knew he was coming, but the master only says he knows everything, remember? Vegeta was stunned until Roshi began laughing, exclaiming he was just pulling his chain. Vegeta comically slaps his face before asking where Bulma was. Roshi says she was in the bathroom, so the prince rushed in, and once he located the restroom, he barged in as the room was full of steam. The prince, not being able to see, walks in aimlessly, only to open the shower curtains and shockingly witness Bulma in the, well, you get the idea. So after a couple minutes had passed, Vegeta had begun to ask Bulma where she had left the Dragon Radar in hopes she didn't leave it in West City. But luckily for Vegeta, Bulma did have the radar in case of emergencies, even though she didn't think she would need it since, school and all. Nothing world-threatening there. So once Vegeta attained said radar, the prince promptly up and left, yet again, leaving Bulma once more stranded. He could have at least took her back home, if only she had brought some capsules, she thought, before looking down to see a blue rag, and wrapped inside were 3 Dragon Balls, as Bulma looked on dumbstruck. Furthermore, Vegeta with great speed had tracked down the 4th Dragon Ball that seemed to be located in a snowy village, and while flying, Vegeta from up above witnessed a home being ransacked by 2 Red Ribbon soldiers, so Vegeta flew in and easily saved the family, while one of the soldiers sneaked off and reported to base that Vegeta had arrived. Commander Red was shocked at how this stranger managed to find the Dragon Ball so fast, and immediately Red contacts General White at Muscle Tower, demanding him to keep his soldiers alert and to eliminate Vegeta at all costs. So White alarms his crew to be prepared, with Vegeta already making his way to said tower, only to see from up ahead that the fighters of Muscle Tower had banded together at General White's disposal to take down the prince. So once Vegeta arrived, each fighter was there to greet him, aside from the innocent Android 8, who decided to watch the carnage from the inside.
A few minutes later.
And I mean in just mere minutes, Vegeta makes little to no work of all the fighters, except Bouillon, who just as in canon, froze to death. So the annoyed and angry General White slowly exits the tower as the Prince of all Saiyans looks on in suspense, until a humanoid-looking creature steps out along with General White, keeping him at gunpoint. Vegeta's radar had begun to spike, so after pulling it out and aiming it towards the 2, the signal had gotten stronger, so the prince comments,
"My radar has detected a Dragon Ball in your possession. If I were you, I would simply hand it over."
The general had urged Vegeta to come and take it, so the prince does a slight stretch and complies, with the general commanding Android 8 to sit back and watch and to assist if he needed help. So the general reciprocated, getting into his battle stance as well, with the prince arrogantly commenting,
I wonder why I've seen this before."
But White had dashed in preparing an attack.
"Is this really the best you can do? 'Cause this is utterly pitiful. And I thought you were the one to actually make me do something worthwhile."
So after White had admitted defeat, Android 8 begs Vegeta not to kill him, and that he never wanted to hurt anyone. General White and his lackeys had created him and forced himself to do mischievous deeds. But the prince retorts that he only wanted the Dragon Balls to help his injured master and whatever that may happen in the future. Android 8 pulled out the Dragon Ball he had kept safe from General White and his men. Vegeta was dumbfounded at this apparent revelation, but nevertheless, the prince took Ader back to the village where Suno and her family welcomed the friendly android. And just as canon follows, Dr. Flape is able to take the bomb out of Ader, with Vegeta heading off to locate the 5th Dragon Ball. Back on Roshi's island, Bulma sits along the island shore in thought, while the pervy master gets an eyeful along the sidelines. But suddenly, Roshi was struck with an ominous feeling, as the master quickly screamed out for Bulma to rush inside immediately, but the Red Ribbon soldiers began storming in on their jet copters, firing dozens of rounds on the island, so Roshi took cover. As one of the copters abruptly lands on the island, a soldier steps out, introducing himself as General Blue of the Red Ribbon Army. Roshi stood upright before demanding to know why him and his men were on his island. General Blue politely disregards the master's question in favor of knowing where the 3 Dragon Balls were located. Roshi was confused as he had no idea the Dragon Balls were on his island, but Bulma looking down in fear as she knew Vegeta had left the balls with her. So Master Roshi retorted that he had no idea where they were, and even if he did, he wouldn't tell the likes of Blue, with the general only reaching in his jacket pocket while smiling sadistically, until he suddenly pulls out a gun and rapidly fires multiple rounds at the master, who easily dodges each bullet. Mutant rushed in, using his after image to fool the suspecting general, but to no avail. Blue dodged Roshi's attacks, while using his psychic abilities to paralyze Roshi. The master stood in his position, unable to move any limbs, so Blue commanded his crew to raid Roshi's house. As they bursted in and instantly spotted Bulma, holding on to the Dragon Balls. The soldiers captured Bulma and tied her up. Blue then tied up Roshi and set a bomb to blow in 10 minutes before hastily leaving. And just in time, Krillin and Chi-Chi arrived back at their master's house with the help of the Nimbus Cloud gifted to Chi-Chi from Roshi. So once the two noticed the wreckage on the island, they both rushed into the house and was aghast to see Roshi tied up next to a bomb. Krillin begins to panic at the sight of the explosive weapon, but Chi-Chi alarms Krillin to stay calm as she struggles to disarm the bomb until Vegeta had busted in, demanded to know why the island was in ruins. But quickly, Vegeta noticed Krillin and Chi-Chi in a panic with his master tied up. Krillin screamed out, "Vegeta, thank the heavens it's you. Now can you please get this bomb out of here and save us?" The prince immediately grabbed the bomb and flew up as high as possible before tossing it in the atmosphere as it simultaneously explodes. So the prince floated down and asked where Bulma was. Both Krillin and Chi-Chi had no recollection, as they assumed whoever planted the bomb must have taken her. So the prince pulls out the radar and notices that 4 balls were on the move. Vegeta had 1 and Bulma had 3. So the 5th must have been with the kidnappers. So Vegeta prepared to fly off, as Krillin and Chi-Chi asked to follow along, and the prince reluctantly says he didn't care, but hoped they had their own means of transportation. So Chi-Chi screamed out, "Flying Nimbus!" as the trio abruptly takes off into the sky, with Roshi still being comedically tied up. So once the trio arrived on the island, 3 Red Ribbon robots began to attack, with Vegeta only bursting his aura, pushing back the 3 robots, until Vegeta asked Krillin and Chi-Chi if they could handle the robots, as they both got into stances as to say the fight was on. So the prince nodded in agreement, before tossing Chi-Chi his power pole that he kept on his back for safety, before flying off using the Dragon Radar to locate Bulma and Blue. Meanwhile, General Blue watches Vegeta easily fly straight through the traps to Blue's anger, but he maintains his cool. While a random soldier has asked Blue what they should do with Bulma, and Blue said nothing just yet. Right as Vegeta bursted through his walls, General Blue and his trustee Captain Dark greeted Vegeta. So the prince steps up and says,
"Give me back my Bulma, and I may consider letting you live."
Well, the warrior Vegeta in the flesh. I'll say, I've been anticipating your arrival for a while now, and looks like you brought some gifts for me.
Yeah. Can we skip to the part where I defeat you already and go on about my life?
Blue smiled until Chi-Chi and Krillin also flew in on the flying Nimbus. The robots they defeated were actually quick work for the two. With the rest of Blue's men surrounding the 3, General Blue compelled Vegeta to face him before getting in a battle stance. The prince walked up towards the tyrant, and as expected, he merely sends 1 punch, and Blue is sent hurling past Bulma out onto the island. Each of the soldiers were left dumbfounded before they meekly admitted defeat. So once the prince freed Bulma, she angrily relayed what took him so long. The prince replies,
"Well, I was busy being a hero, since you're so curious."
Bulma rolled her eyes, and once the foursome prepared to make their leave, the dragon radar had begun spiking, with Chi-Chi suddenly spotting Captain Dark trying to escape with the Dragon Balls. And once she attempted to reach him, General Blue hastily burst inside and grasped Vegeta's tail. The prince was unexpectedly hurled across the room into a nearby wall. Everyone, including Blue himself, was startled to see Vegeta actually hurt for the first time. Blue didn't think that was actually going to work. So, the prince slowly arose, rubbing his head, until Blue approached Vegeta and released his most potent psychic attack, which managed to stun the prince for a moment, as Blue rushed in with a flurry of blows that was somehow doing minimum damage to Vegeta, but it was enough to keep him on the back end. So Blue grasped Vegeta's tail once more, rapidly spinning him around and around before tossing the prince into the ground. Blue retorts, "So, it appears the mighty Vegeta does have a weakness after all." Thanks for watching, guys. For more content like this, remember to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. Stay safe, and I'll see y'all in the next what if. Peace.